to cry all their tears away, and they call it Lonesome Town, where the broken hearts stay. You can buy a dream or two to last you all through the year, but all you'll find in Lonesome Town is a heart full of fear. What is going on, everybody? Working hard in the city, working every night and night and day. No, I don't. I feel like I need to I need an intro song where I like just rip off my sequin outfit and I just start singing Tina Turner and just like rolling, rolling on a river. Anyhow, I don't know why, but the cat wanted to sing with me. She was like, "Ah, Daddy, I want to sing with you. I want, I want to sing a song that's by Ricky Nelson, this guy from the '50s that I listen to a lot." And I'm like, "You're only a year old. How do you know about that, kitty cat?" And she's like, "I know things, Dad." Guess she does. Guess she does. Yeah, what an amazing intro. Yeah, well, if I can conjure Tina Turner and maybe a little Tina Fey and maybe a little uh what other Tinas do we know? Just have a night out with Tina. Anyways, you know, maybe we can get that energy. Wow, this shirt looks really bright on this live stream. That is very interesting. Well, I have some new critters, and today I also have, well, I have a few new things. My wife and I, we've been chugging along. We've been thinking about, redoing stuff, getting the house in order. Maybe Alex is finally healing. As you can see, I've got the lupus rash. It's a butterfly shape that basically kind of shows up. It's just starting the last few hours. Gotta love it. But yeah, it just kind of drains all my energy, makes all my joints sore. But I'm not going into health tonight. I'm gonna try my best to not whine about anything. Let's be happy. Let's be happy for what we have. And what do I have? Well, I mean, I've got this. These are good. This is junk food. Sour cream and onion potato chips. Haven't eaten those in forever because the top teeth missing. Well, today I decided I broke down and I literally ate like, I don't know, 12 of them and just kind of placed one on my tongue like a communion wafer and was just like, and it's about as good as I got. What is going on though, guys? How are we doing as we're loading in here? We've got Dean Stevenson, we got Fishcapade's Cave of Wonders, and now this. Joey Baker or Backer, Dory Bailey, what up? Darren Ward, done 50% water change, still have high nitrate and nitrite and nitrate. So if you have high nitrites and it doesn't matter. If you have high nitrites, your tank is either not cycled yet or it was cycled and now it has become uncycled and is trying to cycle again. And this means that your ammonia is still dangerous. It is not converting your ammonia at the full rate it should. So you may have a trace amount of ammonia, a little bit of nitrite, and then probably a mid amount of nitrate, I would guess, or a high amount even. And if that's the case, you want to basically, if you can, if you have any other tanks, steal a sponge or filter media from those, and add it to your tank so that the bacteria in there, the beneficial bacteria, can take care of the bioload of the nitrites. Otherwise, I would continue to do water changes, but you're gonna just have to wait to some degree, and you're gonna have to wait because it's going to be time, a week or two possibly, cat, before you're going to catch up and your nitrite is going to disappear fully. But if your ammonia is already gone, you're real close, and I wouldn't like take fish out or set them aside or anything. But I would be careful, and I would also keep the pH below 7 if possible. If you can, keep the pH TDS lower, because ammonia, nitrites, nitrates, they're all more toxic when you have a higher pH, or when the water level is hard, when you have a total dissolved solids that's higher, generally speaking, because when your KH goes up, then your pH is probably going to go up into the hard range. And when you're down in the 6.5 or lower pH range, so if you add some catappa leaves or something as well, you can actually get most of the ammonia to transform into ammonium and evaporate out. Plus, it's far less dangerous. That being said, if you have a bunch of Rift Lake cichlids, that's not going to work. Or if you have a bunch of livebearers, that may not work. But if you have a bunch of Amazonian fish, angelfish, rams, discus, neon tetras, zinni tetras, corridoras, plecos, all that kind of stuff, you can drop the pH to 6.5 no problem, and it'll give them a little more safety. Plus, it'll make them feel soothed having that. But yeah, I just keep up on the I keep up on the water changes, and that filtration will catch up eventually, I suppose. All right, guys, what else is going on? I got a drink. Isn't this weird? I got a drink. Hey, Redfish Bluefish is on here. And Al Abib, hello. Good to see you, my friend. John Monroe, good to see you. Azerevian as well. I mostly don't do water changes anymore unless I'm starting a tank over. I just add water monthly. Well, that's the cycle I like to get into unless I'm spawning fish. So, there you go. Mmm. Vanilla steam milk is like the nectar of the gods to me. Sorry guys, I'm craving milk. I must have osteoporosis or something. I don't know what's going on. But mm, mm. Just slam it on my head like a frat boy. No, I do have a Dr. Pepper here. It's just I'm only taking to the one Dr. Pepper all day because I have enough sugar in my life. So basically, that has to last me all day, and I've got 2/3 of this one. I opened it maybe 3 hours ago. It's gonna go flat. It's gonna be disgusting, but that's what I get for opening it at whatever time, 1 o'clock instead of a dinner or whatever. Mm. All right, let's see here. Was the backyard video in the AM or PM? That video was in the PM. We were in the backyard, and here I can show you right now where we were. So this is the kitty. She's a permanent fixture. She's a bad kitty. She's always a bad kitty. She does not behave. I'm trying to get her on film, and she just is so shy. She doesn't do anything on film. But, as soon as I stop filming her, she just starts doing the most quirky, weird things. And it's like, what are you doing? You freaky animal, you. But you're not a fish, are you? No, you're not a catfish even, are you? No, you're a kitty cat. Okay, so backyard. By the way, this is her favorite thing in the world. The cat wants to destroy my papyrus that is just growing immersed. We had to put it here because literally every plant we have, this is what she went to the vet in, very stylish. Every plant we have, she has tried to kill. This one she's trying to lean on with her body weight, and I've had to put a counterweight stone on it. But if you were watching that video and you're like, where was the fish tanks and the stuff that you had? You clearly had a setup, and the answer to that is right there. It's that messy, trashy patio. You know, I got buckets, I got tubs, and I got an aquarium, and I got some thirds of or quarters of a wine barrel type look, like the decorative ones, and that's what we have basically for the little pond things that I have in the backyard. Each one's a little different. Each one's a little closer or farther from like cover, warmth from the house, the tree being nearby. And some are hard, some are soft water, some have like gravel and rocks, some also just have leaves, and some have nothing. Kind of all just tests. Let's see here. Anne says, I cannot keep scuds in my water. You have them thriving, and I think you said you have soft water. How do I do it? Yeah, they thrive in my water. I mean, my water is pretty soft, so I have some TDS. I'm gonna say I have probably, I don't know, 100 parts per million in most of the tanks, just because they've been up and running for a little while and they kind of accumulate it unless you're using actual RO water. But my tap water is like anywhere from 25 to 40 TDS, and like half of that is like chlorine or whatever. But I got this new tank, got this new 60P or W60, I guess they're calling it. It's the new ADA tank, and I got a good deal on it. And yeah, it must be some other factor. That's interesting. I mean, I'll show you the Scud tank. So I wanted to show you guys real quick. So this is the new tank, and it is approximately, what is it? So it's 600 millimeters. What the heck? 600 millimeters by 300 by 360 millimeters. So basically 36 centimeters by 30 centimeters by 60 centimeters, I guess. And yeah, it's basically like what, a 20-ish gallon tank. And I have that tank, and I want to show you guys. Shame, shame, shame. You guys are gonna say shame, shame, shame. Your life is a mess, Alex. Shame, shame, shame. So here it is. We turn around, and no, that didn't turn around. We turn around. We're gonna be a million degrees in here. I'm gonna lock the kitty out. Hopefully we still have service. That is a mess, obviously, but this is like all these, cords and products and things and methylene blue and flourish potassium, just junk. Stuff that I'm not using. I am cleaning out this low boy. It is 12 years old, and yes, I'm making a video of what I find when I clean out substrate that is 12 years old, and I am scared. Yes, indeed I am. I think I see there's shrimp there eating. And if we look in it here, this is the first of the fish room stuff to get cleaning. We can see that some shrimp shed just when I went in here. There's also some guppies in here. And usually there are planaria everywhere. But ever since I got rid of the top coat, there's far less. You can still see some planaria right in here. And some leftover snail carcasses. I don't think any of the snails are really alive. I haven't seen a snail doing anything in here in a long time. And you can see this wood here. It is very old. No filter, no CO2, nothing's been running here. I mean, look at this. Look at this crystallization that is built up on the wood. There are actual minerals forming on that wood from some sort of osmotic or, capillary motion. I don't know. Whatever it is. And in here, we're getting the rest of the little guppies out in a cup. Look at this rock. This rock was literally underwater for the last 4 years. And you can see it's almost like a petroglyph. So check this out. The top of the rock was out of the water. This used to be standing up like... Top was out of the water. The stuff in the water got the most protein, bacteria, biofilm right at the top. Then going down in the water column, it got tannins, it got cellulose, it got, you know, whatever protein films going up and down in the water column. It got critters crawling on it. It got algae, it got cyanobacteria, it got everything. Then below it was in the substrate. Here you can even see where like a rock and another rock were next to it in the substrate. And down below, it's like crystal clear, like nothing ever happened to it. We can also see there's cholla wood over 10 years old in here. That's why there's almost nothing left of it. And the other woods and things have literally been broken down into actual like bark. Some of the other rocks are so covered in silt and mulm, you can barely see any aqua soil left. And then down here, we can see that something is going on. Is it just that I kicked up dirt? I'm not exactly sure, but something's going on to show that my blue mallowa line's in here. But look at all these planaria. It's so nasty. And you can see the years and years of nearite snails crisscrossing over it and me never cleaning this. You can also see the substrate. Nothing has been planted in it. This is a like living substrate, sure, but it's dead. It's stratified and nothing has changed. So look at that. There's like a green layer, well, black, brown, green, yellow, black, then kind of a toffee or chocolate color, then a rusty red, then an orangish red, and then it's kind of a mix of other stuff and dark. Kind of interesting to see. And then if we kick the light on here, let me take this light. Aziz, light! Taking this light away. Want to take you to lighting town. Want to take you to lighting town. So, wicked freaking aquatics, what's up? Peppercorns, if you have a sandy planted tank for that, yeah. You could bottle that scent. Actually, you know what? I have to say this tank does not smell like anything. This tank smells surprisingly fine. There's some protein film on it, which I thought maybe that would be stinky or kind of smell like poopy or boggy, but it's not. Like even if I disturb things, let's get a whiff and tell you what I'm smelling. So, it's earthy. It's very, very earthy. And let's see that, yeah, that definitely disrupted the layer there. But it just smells like a hummus, like an earth. And here's some of that black Soswassertang that grows super dark, like black and brown. That's still in there. That's about it. So, then there's the other second oldest tank we have that is here. And this is my first deep substrate lasagna style tank, I guess if you want to call it that. Really, it was just a home DIY, I guess, lasagna tank. Multi-layered substrate tank. We got sand. We got the lava rock. And this is about 8 or 9 years old now. So actually, it's coming up on a decade. So it's pretty wild that it's there. And I'm scared. Do I tear it down? What? I got the Twin Star light ready and mounted for it. And then I've got this tank right here. So here's my dilemma, guys. I'm going to need your opinion here, Miss Sydney Peterson and Fish and Football over in Scotland and running water. Hummus or humus, I don't know. So here we've got a totally natural, non-heated, basically this at this point is just like a flooded field or a flooded ditch style tank in Florida. 74-ish degrees in the room, and we've got, what do we got in here? Well, we've just got the least killifish. That's all that's in here. Isopods, least killifish, scuds, Cyclops, Daphnia, a little bit of everything, but of course, with any fish in that constitution of critters, we basically only see the isopods here and there and the scuds here and there. Everything else, really, you would have to take the fish out. And surprisingly, you do see Daphnia and things when you take the fish out. But even one adult Heteranda formosa is enough that I never see Daphnia or Cyclops in the tank. Like, they seem to eat every single last one of them, which I find pretty impressive. But anyways, so here's my conundrum, my kneedly doodly dum. So we've got this tank here is the same as this tank here. I turned this tank sideways just to play with what I could do. So I can do these tanks sideways, and I got air lines and stuff. This isn't really running anything at the moment. And so if I did another rimless, so I did a rimless here and a rimless here, and then I scooted this down all the way to the end and moved those two breeding, the 10 and the 2.5. And same with this, I'd have room for, actually I'd have room for a 20 long and a 2.5 exactly is what I have room for. So I would scoot this up to this probably, put a divider right here. But then I'd have like that on both sides, so boom, boom. And when I stick my head in here, I could look this way and I could look this way and I could see aquariums. But I'm replacing this for now. I don't even know where I will put it eventually, but it's going to get torn down all. It's been too long. I got this tank from a guy named Shoeman who is into aquarium stuff about 5 years before I got into it again. He put this substrate in years ago. 8 years ago I got that tank now. 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And then he gave it to me. I have never topped this tank off with aqua soil or anything. So I had just been holding on to it just to put bulbs in, and every once in a while threw some guppies or livebearers in there just to do their thing. But now I don't know what to do. I mean, well, other than I'm going to get rid of it and I'm going to put another aquascape here. So we're going to clean this up. We're going to put an aquascape right here that is one of these tanks. But do I put this tank here? Do I do one here and one here facing in and then one here? Or do I do one here and one here and one here, all kind of three to look at? Or any combo on this shelf and this shelf? Like, what should I do? My thought initially was to do a 20 long here with the thing here, because then I can at least access it and look at it here still. I know it's all dirty, guys, sorry. But I moved this one from the living room. This is the one that was the small one in the living room. And I just don't know what to do, because being real with you guys, remember, this is my room of shame. That is what I'm dealing with. I gotta tear that down. Our roof leaked, and it ruined the sheetrock, and it rotted, and also stained from mold on the up there down. And so, you know, what do we do? Also, like, all the years of paint since the 50s have buckled and come through, and just like, it's basically like thick. I mean, it's like maybe a 1/4 inch thick of paint that I could rip off with my hands right now. And it's just, you know, layers, as if it were like some sort of mineral or geode. So that has to happen at some point, unfortunately. Now, right now, even though it's a freaking mess, we've also got these carpets down all over where these racks are. And I don't know if clearing off just the top will be enough room for them to be able to cut out that corner of drywall and patch it or do something. I used to patch so much drywall due to my stupid temper when I was a teenager and in through my 20s living in apartments and houses. So, another thing that's going on. A lot of you haven't seen these tanks in a little while, and I've kind of just I've been testing parameters more than I usually ever do. Why? Well, it's because I am allowing algae and the plants that I normally care for with a lot more care, I don't know how else to say that, I've been letting them kind of take over and run wild. And also cyanobacteria, algae, anything that's not harmful to the fish, as long as the fish look healthy and the water parameters say things are healthy. I mean, I think like even the apistos and stuff are actually pretty healthy. And when I look at places like where Ivan Mikolji collects apistos, every picture is just full of algae. So I'm not that worried about that piece. And even like these white, where'd they go? These white chin, white cheek, orange stripe gobies here. They're pretty happy. I still put scuds down in the tank live for them every day or two. Here we've got the female and male of the McMastereye red shoulder. And yeah, they're just doing their thing. But then we also have, right now, actually, as of today, we have a new bubble nest going here. And I've got the lights off, but we can probably shine them a little bit of light. This is the Betta Maha Chiensis. And I don't know, I'll have to look more carefully when we're not filming. But there may be eggs up here already. It's hard to tell right now from this angle and everything. But the male's down there. I guarantee you the female is somewhere around here. And then there are 3 other males in this tank, but they have all gone to the far side back there. Only a 2.5 gallon tank. And we've got 5 adult bettas in there. And yes, I have gotten them to spawn in this community setting before. This guy is going to be the one who says, those are my babies, you guys all stay away. What's also kind of weird is this tank right now, we're trying to simulate the wet season. We've got my Betta Malak compuncta. Well, we also have some swordtails. And the Kohiki swordtails are in here, and we're simulating like a rice paddy with Val. And then we've got the male right here. He's a big bulldog of a betta. But these guys all are going to get moved. We'll wait, obviously, for this male. See if they end up having babies or if they literally have babies in there right now. And we'll see. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you guys before we move on. This is my aquatic isopod tank up here. This is my infusoria tank. This is another aquatic isopod and scud and Gammaris species tank. And also this one has fungi on the bottom to try to see like what the difference is versus like this one's all cleaned up by the isopods. The isopods literally cleaned up and tilled the substrate into like a perfectly smooth like little silk garden path. It's really wild. And then over here down lower we've got obviously we've got the lovely goodyids, and they just keep making babies. Here's mama, here's daddy. The babies are chilling, they're just around. And then here, oh, now it's gonna look all sad. It was just all puffed up. But here we've got mama and daddy, and they're waiting also to spawn again. And this is the Betta Imbolus. Now we did have a group of wild Betta Imbolus, and I gave away the other males to friends, and now I'm kicking myself because now I've got 1 female and 1 male, and that's all. And then over here we've got the blue malawas, another backup tank. They are breeding in here. We have chili rasboras living in 8.0 pH water. And the point was, can I keep chili rasboras in hard water? It was just a simple question. That was it. Also, the malawa shrimp, they do fine in hard water. They also do fine in soft water. But there's a real pregnant female. And then over here, we've got the black chin livebearers. And then there are just a handful of those black chin livebearers scooting around. And they're from Costa Rica. And then we also have some scarlet batis in there. Then we've got the Skull Creek, Siri Creek, wait, what are these? Now, are they, maybe Moa? Moa. Not Siri or Skull Creek, Moa ones. Anyways, Moa Island, Sahulensis, they're such an overlooked rainbow fish. This one, his tail is red. Gary Lang told me to quote unquote cull it, aka unalive it, about 7 months ago, and I just kept allowing it to live. No one else has gotten the weird red tail, and it has just kept living. And what happened was it smacked its tail on something really hard, and it was crooked and not working for a while, and it was like limping, like very, didn't think it was gonna make it. So then it recovered, and now it's just in the tank, but that color has changed, and I don't know if the trauma did it. It's definitely not a bruise. I mean, it's been way too long. So anyways, you guys know what's in here. Then up here, more shrimp. Up here, we've got more shrimp. Also, we've got some exclamation point rasboras. Up here, we've got the Mekongensis. You know, these are 2.5s, but these are rice fish, and there's about a dozen up there. And then in here, we've got my community betta tank and barbs and my hovering loaches, and also these guys, the black line cichlids. There are 3 black line cichlids. There are 3 male bettas in here at the moment, and I think there are 3 or 4 females. That one's beat up, that female. But I actually took her out of this tank and put her up there because she got beat up in this tank by the gouramis, believe it or not. Anyways, that's the ongoing social betta tank that I have to watch pretty closely. So this tank and this tank get all my attention in this room, unfortunately. The others really don't, and they're kind of just secondary. So this one, it's going to go. It's going to get moved. This is going to get scooted down. And I'll back up and show you guys a picture of everything. And then in here, we've got my Danio Negro Fasciato. And then we also have my Mete Blue Tetras, as well as some Mountain Cloud Minnows, and some checkerboard cichlids, and what else is in there? Some gouramis and some cories. We've got some honey gouramis, true wild form. So those bright yellow ones, the sunset or the honey, this is what they look like naturally. There's a male who has got a black line down his side, but he'll turn yellow when he's excited or in the mood. And then over here, we've got lots of little baby of the Sylvesteritis or Salvatore Livebearer. There you can see one coming up to the glass. That looks like a little male. Yep. And I don't know where they all are. Maybe whoa, almost lost my phone there, guys. But let's stick it back here, see if you can see anything. There are like another 8 or 9 adults in here still, but ever since I sold about 5 adults to a friend, they just hide all the time. They hid a lot before, but in this 20 long, they just hide back in the valve. So I don't know if I'm going to keep these anymore. It was fun. I wanted to make sure that I could raise them, make sure, I guess, to tell myself, oh, they'll be all right. They're going to make it. Even if they're endangered in some of their range, they're going to make it. And I think that's true. That's a true statement. Also, I've got some cory cats down there. One sad angelfish that's so mean. He's never lived with anyone else for 3 years now. 1 year here he did. So then we've got this big 65 that I'm moving over here. And there's a green screen that I bought. And it is, as you see, a big old green screen. Also here, you can see the Kohaku sword-tailed babies. These are the slowest growing sons of a gun I've ever seen. They're at 4 months old, and they're this size, like half an inch. And then over here, let's see if you guys can see them. Yep, right there we got a nice Elosoma Gilberti. Got another Elosoma Gilberti female. Elosoma Gilberti male, I think, here. And then this is unheated, even though there is this heater in here, but it's not on. And then you can see here, we got the Elosoma. Here we got the Elosoma. There's the male right there with some blue and a little bit of yellow on the finish. And then we've got the Malawa shrimp in here. just hanging out with some Malawa shrimp and some ram's horn snails, basically with some hornwort, just living in a 2.5 gallon. But I want to put them in a nice little rimless setup and, you know, see how they do in that. And so, yeah, that's essentially, this is my mess. And, you know, my wife came and she said, like when we had this big party and get together, she said, okay, you know, clear out the room, organize it. But then really the truth is, this is a pile of junk. Like, I need to clean this up. There's clothes, there's Christmas lights, there's empty boxes, there's boxes with a filter in it that I never used, there's memory boards that my mom dropped off. Like, all the stuff that was at my parents' house filled up that closet, filled up that room. Everything that I ever had stashed away that I didn't think they would notice, they definitely noticed, found in the attic or whatever, and were like, hey, you've got your own house now. Have it. Take it back. Sorry, guys. It's like 1,000,000 degrees in there. But yes. So, yeah. Anyhow, that place gives me certifiable anxiety right now. And it used to have 32 tanks set up in there. Now we're down to 17 or 18 tanks in there, depending on if you count that short one, that have fish in them. And then there's another 3 tanks that don't have fish in them, and there's some brand new tanks in the house ready to go in. I just literally can't lift anything but this stupid watering can because of my health. So that is, you know, the hard part about all this. But ever since I've been sick and in the living room more, it's given me a lot more incentive ever since summer, and then again when I got sick at the end of November into December. What are you doing? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. No. Cat. Anyways, so yeah, it's been incentive for me to be taking care of this. Remember when we aquascaped this, we moved stuff, and we moved, also we cleared out here. These are all my hybrids of beautiful red, like Ludwigia X Rubin, Ludwigia X Super Red crossed with Ludwigia lacustris down here, and then we've got like Potamogeton gayi, we've got Cabamba furcata rainbow, Bacopa crossed with Bacopa colorata, Ludwigia ovalis crossed with Red Star. So all of these are up in here kind of doing their thing. Some of the super reds are over here kind of hiding out. But yeah, I mean, you can really see how reds and pinks some of the stems are. Also, a few other things. The Logonandra meboldi, the chocolate, the pink metallic chocolate. Not a good mix in my opinion, but it kind of looks cool. I mean, it's kind of like a pink from one angle and then it goes to green or brown, and it's got a metallic color to it. But that's the one that's doing well. My silver Logonandra back in there is not doing. Hey, whoa! She has never done this. Cat, that was quite the jump. Now you're in trouble. No. Hey, spit that. Come here. Cat, hold on, guys. Come here. Is that in your mouth, honey? Did you eat that? You're gonna throw that up in the other room in like 5 minutes. Gosh dang it. So, that's frustrating, y'all. That's real frustrating. This cat, she's gonna eat everything she shouldn't. And that, I know for a fact, she will throw up even a little piece of it. And she just got the whole center nubbin of that papyrus. She's gonna go throw it up, like probably in her toys. Alright. So what else is going on? Well, over in here, we're having a bit of an algae bloom, but you know, that's okay. This tank with the loaches, all the loaches in it with the hill stream, whatever, the panda loaches and then the golden panda loaches. There's the golden panda loach, the new panda loach species back there in the algae with the stripes going the other way. And then we've got the typical panda loach right here. And then, so they're doing their thing. There's also the other loaches in here. And then there's also the Kalitawa rainbow fish. They're actually spawning again, which is cool. But the tin winnies, the males are purple and kind of copper, lavender, whereas the females are a bright gold, yellowy gold with a little bit of orange or reddish hues. And the males have that like brass to copper with bright pink. Look at that pink in there. That's a Danio, you guys. That's a tin winnie, happy as can be. That's what happens. Soft water with actual. Okay, I shouldn't say soft water. 100 TDS, a little bit of minerality, but the KH, the actual crushed coral, very low. Lake Inlay has minerality, but it is not. It's not calcium um, or a carbonate. It's actually, a host of other things: magnesium, manganese, zinc, iron, yada, yada, yada. And I just find that interesting. And yeah, so they're really happy. The Kythit Danios are the bigger ones that look almost identical but bigger down there with the spots to these little guys. And then up here, all the plants seem to be doing pretty well. I really like the cardamine lorata. It's pretty cool. Uh, it kind of looks like hydrocotyle tripartita or verticillata, but it does get algae easily when you've got an algae explosion already coming on. So this tank probably needs a blackout is like the serious thing. There's the female Kalitawa. There's the male Kalitawa. Um, there's two females in here and a male for the Kalitawas. I know it's a weird mix in that we've got some Papua New Guinea fish, and then we've got all the Rasbora hets, which are also in spawning condition. You can see actually which ones are male and female. The males are more slender, like that one, and they've got brighter colors, and their blue is electric, like they're purpley blue, kind of lilac to blueberry color, like that one there. Super electric, and their eye is like pink as pink can be, peachy pink, almost fuchsia. And then the females, they just got a bigger belly, like this gal here, and more translucent towards the end of the caudal terminus or the tail fin. Other than that, the moss is growing in nicely on things, which is cool. Also, the Parvulus samolus, this big red plant, it's been kind of fun to play with. We've been kind of learning as we go with this. I'd never grown it before, but let's see here. Can we? No, that didn't help. That didn't help. But you guys can kind of get a peek of it over here. I've been trimming it and playing with it. Also, the purple sword of flame. That is a very pretty plant. We're doing CO2 4 hours a day right now. And basically, I think I'm going to up the CO2 to 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day, the light down to 6 after we do 2 days of blackout. See if that takes care of the algae before I add any chemicals. Other than that, this is the other new newbie to our home, which is the incredible Reed Tetra. Now, these guys always get overlooked, and they are my favorite, like, community Tetra that's dirt cheap. These are like $1.99 a piece usually, and they actually look like little Congo Tetras if you look carefully. Wait for an excited male to come by. So the males have a dorsal fin that's so long it folds back down, but when they are in a mood to fight or to show off to other males, there's a male, they will put it up, and they have these just crazy fins for how small this little fish is. not to mention, they school with Rasbora hets and Rasbora habrosus. And so I've got a dozen of them, and I might go get myself 10 more. I think I paid $1.99 or something for them. And they actually will turn colors too. They will turn a green and like a soft green and yellow kind of tone will come in. And I got pictures of that I can share on Discord and Facebook. And probably I'll edit it into a video because I want to do a species. Ow, cat! Species spotlight. The cat just jumped from all the way over there, trying to get onto my shoulders so that she could eat more of that plant. Kitty cat. No. Look at how sweaty I am from just leaning over. No, baby. No. No. Boy. Cats. Can't live with them. It's illegal to use them as a football. So that is Cat says, I'm the star of the show. I have to like step outside. It's so hot in here. And also, as I mentioned, if you missed it at the first part, no, I'm not dying of a fever or anything. I just have an autoimmune disorder that causes basically what they call a butterfly rash. And it gets my eyes, it gets my cheeks, and it starts swelling my eyelids as we go on. And if I get warm or if I get worked up, it ends up flushing me more and more, and I get welts, and I'll end up with them all over. So sorry. I wish there was some cool juicy story, but that's that. So yeah, Johnny, thank you, buddy. Alex got your hands full. If you need a hand with hand, I will work for fish. Right now, I'm not even breeding fish is the problem. Like, usually I have a whole bunch of tanks with fish breeding, but right now I've wound that down despite my love of doing it because I don't want to be irresponsible and, have 15 bettas and have to be watching their tank, being careful, then breeding them, then a grow out tank, then a spawn tank, then I take two and set them here, and then yeah, so I do appreciate that, buddy, and you have helped out so much. Seriously, all the super chats, all the thumbs up, likes, the comments, all of that helps so much. If I had $1 million, we talked about that the other night, how I would start basically just like for coffee where there's a non-profit or fair trade fish market. I would do that, but I would teach the local fish collectors also about aquaculture for whatever fish are applicable to their part of the world. And basically, there's research for every country in the world at this point, and every climate. So it could easily be implemented. They've even like figured out what's best optimized for different habitats in different parts of the world, and if they're living on a boat versus if they're living out in the desert and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Let me step outside for a minute, just because I'm literally so hot that I don't want to look like a beast to you guys. I wanna look civil. And hopefully we still get good reception right here. But what I was gonna say, yeah, so that is what I would do with $1 million. Now, what I would do, let's see here. It's kind of, let me move this little chair where we got internet the best. I think through that window we should get it pretty good. All right, okay. So, I think that through that nonprofit that Ivan and I have set up, that's what we'd love to do long term. And then also we would love to do micro grants, micro loans, or funding basically people overseas, either grad students or professors that are trained in the West, to then train more people below them in their university, their town, And to then have that so that people like the Project Piaba is able to do something similar to what they're doing, where they see if the fishery is sustainable. They see if they can do aquaculture or horticulture of that fish, so that they don't have to go all the way out and collect it from only one spot. And then they also kind of just leave it at that, but give them a fair price. Well, I think we could incorporate with all of that, paying the university and or professors, doctorates, the ichthyologists, the biologists, the ecologists, limnologists, all the specialists. We could pay them, and like for instance, where Ivan is right now, we've been paying them. Their wage from the state is $80 a month, and these people went to school at like the Kew botany department, in the UK. Like it's insane. Like they're as well trained as you could be in botany, and they're there in Venezuela, some of them, in their 60s, 70s, and they're working for that, plus free gas, free housing, yada yada. It's so socialized system. But my point being is that then if we pay them, say, double or triple that amount, they are so excited to do the work, and we get the work done at just the same quality level by the people who know the fish around them the best. And finally, they can kind of focus on that instead of the backlog, or doing essays and grading and stuff like that they're focused on so often. So that's why we really want to continue this. And also, we're doing things like reintroducing the diamond tetra to Lake Valencia and, well, its drainage basin. And so all of that we want to eventually roll out, and ideally we could have like one in Nigeria, one in Indonesia, one in Borneo or Papua New Guinea, one in Australia, one in southern China, one in India, one in Nigeria, one in the Congo, one in the Rift Lakes, and like one in Colombia, one in Brazil, and one in, I don't know, Venezuela, and another in Central America. Like that would be like, years and years down the line. But we could do a network of places that are basically transshippers or wholesalers, like those that are all over in Manaus or Iquitos or Amazonia. And they would then, you'd pay more for it, but that tribal person, that indigenous person, or that local, it doesn't matter what their race or whatever is, but a lot of them happen to be indigenous and happen to not have stable work. But if we could pay them for the fish, and instead of paying $1 or two for the fish landed, for like a tetra or something, with shipping and all the other things, if out of that the cost is, say, half that, and so that gives you down to $1, and then say if 90 cents on the dollar of that could go back to those fish catchers and or fish farmers, which there aren't so many fish farmers right now in South America, there are in Southeast Asia. That would be a way better system than when basically they pay very, very impoverished Amazonian folks that live on the edge of city and basically living off the grid, living tribal, in a tribal system. And they have, solar and other things like here and there out there, but it starts to get much more difficult to transport the fish, and you got to do it in a timely manner. And some of them don't even use, canoes or boats that have an engine of any sort. They row because they're going into the shallows, and they just don't go that far from where they live, a lot of these people, or they don't have the money to buy a motor. And so things like buying a motor, buying a wireless card, buying a digital camera with, Starlink or whatever, some version of internet out there, it could really empower a lot of these research groups that normally we do like a 2-week expedition, and we have Americans and Europeans and Asians traipsing through the Amazon, and maybe one or two locals from like, Sao Paulo or from Rio, and they're kind of guiding things, and maybe they've hired one or two people to lead the expedition on the ground. And then you got this big bulky thing, and you get permits and insurance, and you got students from America coming, and you got to keep track of them, and you can't let them get unalive by ocelots and ants, bullet ants, or just forget the ant part and poachers and things. So it becomes really expensive, like $500,000 or $250,000 to do the same study that we could literally do for like 4,000 US dollars otherwise. Let's see here. Alex, start porch tub of random PetSmart guppies. Throw in Excel P, obviously. A porch tub of random PetSmart guppies. They would not do well. They wouldn't survive where I am. Right here outside right now, let me tell you what the temperature is. Hold on. Beep, beep, beep. Okay. Beep, 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 beep. All right. Let's see here. So, I'm trying to find something that's accurate, something that's close to me and not like metal or glass. Let's see here. There we go, wood, that'll work. Okay, so wood, on the wood pole. Oh wait, you guys can't see it, but the wood pole. It is 48 degrees. That's the high today in Seattle, which is 9.2 Celsius. Yeah, that's pretty low. But yeah, 48 Fahrenheit. That's the high. The low was basically 34. So yeah, guppies gonna die if they were in a tub here. But this summer we could try it. I have had guppies live maybe 3 or 4 months out of the year outside here. It's just that's about all you can do without doing some serious heating and stuff like that. Melissa, hello. And Adam, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Brock, what's up? What do you think about passive CO2 method for plants? I feel like it's a beginner way to use CO2 maybe. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with it, but like if you're going to use CO2, I don't think you need to go like, oh, I'm going to spend $500. But I honestly think that you will get more results that you will be excited by if you get a pressurized CO2 system. At the end of the day, you will be like blown away by how dense the plants get. I mean, things like algae can run away quickly, and like you really need to be familiar with some plants first, then try the CO2. And once you had a tank for a year or so with plants, and you've played with some different plants and trimming them and understanding like how to make them denser, how to make them bushier, how to make them have more space in between each node, things like that. It really then becomes like a powerful tool to have CO2 and a highlight and fertilizer and the right aqua soil and the setup you want. How deep is your tank? What kind of fish are in there? Are there a cleanup crew? Are there all sorts of Alex, who has blonde guppies? I have some of the blonde guppies still. The blonde ones. But I don't have a whole lot of them. I've only got a few in a little 2.5 gallon. Alex, could you sometime talk a little bit about blind cave tetras? Estenyax mexicana. Hard to get in Europe. Are they really? That's interesting because there is a new Javanese and a new Sumatran. Well, the Sumatran one has existed a while, but the Javanese cave barb looks cool. It looks just like a tiger barb or a snakeskin barb in shape, kind of. It even has kind of a balloon-like barb shape, honestly. But it's completely blind, no eyes at all. It's been under no light. It's got to be like, millions and millions of years. Also, China has an absolutely massive network of karst caves with really intense diversity. Loaches and barbs and catfish and all sorts of cyprinids and these weird fish that have no palate. So they've got like no sinus essentially. They're missing the nose nostril part of their face, and it's just like eyes and then like a big chunk missing and then like their mouth. And it looks like someone hurt the fish. It looks like somebody like removed half their face or something. Yet that is how they yeah, that's how they I guess sense things or whatever. Like it's close, close. Like don't need all that skin in the way of my sensory organs. I want some of those hot spring cichlids. Yeah, Gift of the Wild. You know, I'd like to go see those. Also, there's some in Wyoming and Montana and Idaho at Kelly Warm Springs. Very difficult to get to, apparently. They poisoned the main source where people go and where people were putting them, where you could drive for years. But apparently, when it rains really hard, it floods a field, and this field is like, I mean, 7 or 8 miles in a valley of like flooded kind of creek zone. And even though the geothermals don't exist for 7 or 8 miles, they do start again. And at one of the places they start, someone went back and they were like, oh, they're still here. So they've actually found them now several places, even though they thought they got rid of them. It turns out that they've gone all down through this valley, like about 12 miles, but they are less than 7 miles right now from the Snake River, which is like as the crow flies. There is a hill and mountain range in the way, but what's crazy about that is that's connected to the Columbia River, that's connected to hot springs and geothermal stuff, and all sorts of waterways, like the entire Great Basin drainage in Washington, eastern Washington, up through the northern Rockies, everything on the western side of the Rockies, they could get into. They wouldn't survive. As soon as they hit the Snake, they'd die, Snake River. But if they could get it to like Hanford, like the nuclear plant, or another like steel mill or something like that, there are sites all along the river that potentially, and the Snake River for that matter, they could potentially survive if like a bird dropped the eggs or something. It'd be interesting. Outside in aquatics coming soon to Yellowstone and Eastern Seaboard. Yeah. Let's see here. Alex, is there any affordable 3D printed aquarium stands you know of? No. I don't know of any, but I feel like they should make one, right? There should at least be like, I think you could at least get like a little puck under each four corners, and then like one of those tables for like your pizza box. You know what I'm talking about? The little three-legged tables for your pizza box. I feel like there should be something like that, right? That somebody's done, like a 3D print for like to elevate your, like have a floating tank or something. But I don't know. I'm sure there's something out there, but you'd have to be able to hold quite a bit of weight. Yeah. Brandon, what's up? Made a few tanks into salt water. Right on. Gift of the Wild. Such a shame. I hope they make a big comeback. Okay. Let's see here. Alex. Okay. Blah. Lindsay Etheridge. Hello. I want to keep fan shrimp. So we're talking bamboo shrimp, flower shrimp, Singapore shrimp. They have lots of names. What community fish do you suggest that would work well with a moderate flow? So, you know, it's not really like you need moderate flow with the fan shrimp. What you really need is a spot that has circular flow, or at least like that sucks water towards it. A sponge filter will even work, or a hang off the back filter will work. You just need to have something like that. A large canister filter, not ideal, but could work. But it's not ideal just because a lot of the particles will get sucked in and then filtered out. And what you want is the fan shrimp to be able to like park out on the sponge and be able to do its wax on, wax off, and it like catches with its fan, and it's got these other little arms that it pulls off from the fans and eats little pieces with. It's like, as it's doing the thing with its arms. And, you know, I would say the fish that go with it, anything under an inch is fabulous. I mean, panda loaches are phenomenal with them, super peaceful. Uh, I've seen them with coolie loaches, and I've also seen them with crocodile toothpick or alligator toothpick fish. I've seen them with, which I think would be fun also. I've seen them with J barbs, which are kind of expensive but cool. Also, J barbs and butterfly barbs. Two expensive fish that are going to cost you like 10 to 15 bucks usually for an inch long fish, but they are fabulously beautiful, so underrated. The J barb and the butterfly barb. Look those up. Super pretty. They're going to be on my list of fish you need to know about soon. Also, American Cichlid Association have a whole new. Oh, nice. Yeah, what's in your cooler? Fish and football. You got Nukes Generation up in Seattle. I don't know who started it or whatever, like what happened exactly. I don't know, like whose generations or work it's been that I got those blonde guppies from, but I did cross them with my Hawaiian or blue Hawaiian or Hawaiian bluegrass guppies, and with the oh, what's the other one called? The metallic Dumbo ear rainbow snake skin. Ugh. That one I have to like close my eyes and think about it. There's so many adjectives going on. But they look really pretty. Oh, cool. You have John Monroe. You have some green swordtails that were collected in Idaho Hot Springs. That's pretty exciting. I wish we had more Livebearers here. I mean, I like to think that like if we did this and left them and like maybe in like 1,000 years, people will be like, "Whoa, look at this fish!" and like, "How the heck did it get there?" But it might be just some interesting isolated fish, especially in those places where you're not really messing up like a huge ecosystem. Now, I'm not advocating this, but like alpine lakes, if you can find something that can withstand alpine lakes with like geothermal, where there's no chance that there's another habitat other than bacteria that you're messing up. That's where I see it not that harmful, personally. But, I mean, not that I'd ever do that. Alex, do you ever do an online workshop such as shrimp keeping for the shrimp inept? Sydney, that's a great question. I have not. I would love to. If anybody wants to do that, we could do something like that. My live streams, I try to do fairly social and straightforward, where you can ask questions, and sometimes I don't do the best at paying attention if we're like doing something and walking around and yada yada. But yeah, it's something I should think about doing, like a master class on a couple things. But I like to do those for free. As much as that'd be a great way to raise money, there's something that pains my soul to look at this channel and this community and think like, how can I make more money off of you guys? Granted, I don't have a problem with saying I wish I could make everyone pay $1. If you've watched more than 50 hours of the channel, pay $1 or whatever. But beyond that, like, I just want you to watch it, enjoy it, and then if you know someone who would enjoy it too, teach them or share it with them or whatever. But I've been thinking a lot about like, what is the reason in my life? And I've said this, and I said it in a recent video. I've said it before, and it's becoming more and more crystallized in my head that I am not going to have children. We may adopt at some point, but I'm almost 40 now. My wife's almost 50, and she would hate me saying that. She's almost 48. She's not almost 50. So, anyways, but yeah, we're 10 years apart, and she wasn't going to, but I was the main thing. We tried, didn't work out. We went to the clinics and everything. We spent a good amount of time and money and energy on it. And when I got injured in the lightning strike, that was that. It's not going to happen. And so to reconcile with this, which has really played with my mind, because ever since I was even like 15, I was just kind of assuming, oh yeah, I'll have a family and kids at some point. Like that's what you do in life, right? You go to college or you go to school, you get a job, you get a car, then eventually maybe you get a house. And it's just like life does not go in the order you think or how you think. And that's fine. That's the beauty of it. But I feel like my legacy needs to be to give a replicatable message, to basically give you guys a meme or a mind virus, to teach people how to learn for themselves, to teach people how to get excited about learning. Or if you're already excited about learning, maybe I can help connect some things and like show you the joy in the random, like, so this is how the optics on a fish's retina work versus how the optics of our cone and rod cells work, and why you can't just assume that because we both have cone and rod cells in both animals that we see the same way, because actually the software in the brain interprets it differently, or it goes to different parts of the brain, or we have rods and they don't, but we have cones and they might be missing two colors, and so we think, oh, they of course can't see those colors then, but maybe it doesn't work out that way. And so maybe you file that away in the back of your brain, and maybe you're talking with a friend a year later about polarizing sunglasses or color blindness, or something like metallic paint, color changing paint on cars, or holographic paint as they call it. And why does it cost so much money? What's going on? Well, it's because they have to make little crystals in it made out of guarine, and that has to form in an air-free environment and make a little crystal that has to be at just the right angle, and then light has to shimmer off that and scatter and refract in a way that that hits our eye as blue or purple, or blue and purple, back and forth. And so it's those little magic things that I want you guys to put together. When you put them together, I want you to tell me about them, and that we can share here as a community, and then learn too, like as AI and other things get harder and harder to spot, like what's fake and what's real. I want to do a video soon about, like, here are AI aquascapes and here are real aquascapes. Here's how I told the difference. And knowing processes, knowing how a plant grows, and the fact that that's too perfect, it could either tell you something about, well, that AI has seen too many perfect aquascapes, but it wouldn't be that way in the whole plant, or there's this deficiency in this plant, and I know that that means it didn't get enough potassium, and that means that the something like the Java fern, if that looks phenomenal, then the Bulbitis hedulata is going to look phenomenal. But if one of them's all burnt out brown or yellow, or even just a little bit of it, or if the Bulbitis hedulata is a really dark color rather than a bright electric green color, it tells you how much light it got. Things like the consistency of the snail shells, or even of the shrimp. All these sorts of things can tell you the hardness. If it doesn't make sense that the snails would all have very thick, opaque shells in a super CO2 charged black water tank or something, or not black water, but like a super dark water, tannicky, only a few plants kind of tank, you could immediately be like, there's something wrong there. And, that's going to be an important skill to have. And you'll figure it out. Like, you'll figure out a million more ways than that to do the same thing. Keith, thank you so much for gifting the memberships. That is so kind of you. And welcome to everybody who got gifted memberships. Everyone who got. Um, so I really do appreciate that. That's awesome. And oh, your Turkana Jewel Cichlid had fry. Well, as Arabian 2, I am happy for you. They will probably have a lot more fry, and their babies will have fry, their fry will have fry, and then those fry will have fry. They love having babies, but they're really cool. Give them to somebody who really is excited about them, and don't just let the price go super cheap because there's a million babies or whatever. That's my advice. Like, keep them something special for people who want them. And even if you have to get rid of the other ones by like feeding them to the parents or something eventually, I think it's better to keep them around and in higher demand. Not for the sake of, like, I wish they were all cheap fish. If people value the fish's life and they're going to care for it, I will give them the fish oftentimes when I have something that spawns like 200 or 300 babies. But if it's somebody who's never tried it before, they're new in the club, or they're trying fish keeping, maybe haven't bred a ton, then a lot of times I like to keep it in the like $20 to $40 range for like a pair or something, so that they know that like this has some value. I need to give it some worth. And you'd think that because it's a living organism, because it's beautiful and it's a creature that's sentient, that like, yeah, that would be why you should care about it and it should be important. But sometimes it's crazy. People will see feeder shrimp and feeder goldfish, and they'll say, oh, they're only 5 cents a piece, I'll buy a bunch, and who cares what happens to them. Whereas I guarantee you, if nobody had seen a neon tetra as of today, you could sell those fish for $80 a pop to the newcomers, or not newcomers, but to the people in the hobby who wanted them, that they were new to. Mr. What's in the cooler? I think mentors, workshop type sites would be cool, like input species name and get linked with someone who is an expert spawning it. That would be cool. That would be really cool. I do like pea puffers. They're cool. Hey, I put $2 a month. Yes, Nancy B, you do, and I appreciate it so much. I appreciate all of y'all so much. Also, Keith, thank you, buddy. And Anne, 5 Fishery memberships. Thank you so much. And thank you to those of you who are new members. Lindsay F. Ridge. Thank you. Welcome. I don't know what to say other than let's party all the time. Come here. We'll talk about fish. We'll talk about shrimps. We'll talk about plants. We'll talk about chimps. Why did I say chimps? Well, it's all biology, ecology, ichthyology, ecology. Anyways, I'm feeling a little kooky, a little crazy, a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, my friends. But thank you so much for the memberships, and that was really sweet of you and very supportive. It really does make a difference when y'all do that, because then people get to check out the audio-based content, which, again, I need to do more on, like, fish news and stuff, and I could do new species like I was doing for a while in there, but I think new species is better not as non-audio. I think it's more exciting to see the new species, so I still want to catch up on some new species stuff, but they're not publishing, like, fish news that's been as... It might have something to do with, like, the lockdowns. When I was in the peak of all of that, I think a lot of papers that had been waiting to be finished, a lot of graduate projects or, theses that were sitting half or 90% finished, ended up getting finished in, like, 2020 to 2022. And now I've seen a definite slowdown in the, like, linking of really fascinating ones that are, like, species radiation and the adaptation of population density in shoaling fish comparing to subway systems in Tokyo, you know, like really crazy stuff like that. And that's the stuff that I think is really fun to talk about sometimes. George RB3, what's up with ye? Also, fish and football, I'm an astronomer as much as a fish lover. Will kiss the sky. Do, 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 do. Well, thank you. I do appreciate it, Sydney. Doing this makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm doing something or thinking about something productive, something that we can put love and care and compassion into. And it doesn't matter if the world cares or not. Like, we know that we're getting the love from our critters back, and if we're working on projects in the community with fish where you live, with knowledge and education, that is empowering because it teaches us how to think. Stop just scrolling. You know, it's fine to scroll sometimes, to have fun, to watch your Twitter or your your feeds, your reels, your For You page, your shorts. That's fine. I get it. Everybody needs that dopamine scrolling or maybe doom scrolling or whatever. But at least have the ability to then click on a source. And if you're getting your news, your content from someone, when you message them and you say, hey, what source did you use? And they go, I don't know, buzz off. Or they give you a source and then you follow that source and it's like AI from Google or it's like Wikipedia and then you follow that source and it's a dead end or it's a book you can't confirm. Track down a source a month. That is my challenge to all of you. Maybe I'll put out a challenge. And I would love to hear if 100 of you did it. I can't imagine how many things we would find that were like, oh, well, I followed it all the way back. I checked the source that cited it, and then the source that cited that, and the source that cited that citing. And I then found the book from 1936 at the library, which I ordered from the Big Branch Library. And it turns out that on page 36, that has been cited in 192 papers, there is nothing. There is a picture of, you know, the author or whatever. Like, so often that happens, and no one has ever checked it. And now with the internet, it's so easy to check it. Check it. Find out some weird thing. I mean, that latest video I did, they found out that some scientist literally, they came and dropped off 2 or 3 different rounds of fish in the same week from different parts of South America with a notepad with a list of, okay, round cyprinid with 2 lines found here, and then like the notes like in another stack, but like numbered. And it turns out that they switched around 4 of the fish, and ever since they were taxonomically explained, they were wrong from the start. And it turns out when they went back years later in the 70s, they were like, hey, this fish is supposed to survive in 8.4 water pH. All the water around here is like 4.8 to, 6.0. There isn't even any 8 water around here anywhere. That's weird. What happened? And it remained a mystery. They thought, oh, I guess the ecology has changed. Maybe there was a big piece of limestone that melted all the way away. No, it was just wrong in the first place, and nobody'd gone back and figured out what happened. And it was in his notes that he was unsure. He was like, yeah, I think I might have switched these ones around because that professor left for holiday or whatever. And it was like sitting right there in his notes in the published paper as like a aside. Wild stuff, but that's why we should check sources. That's why I think it's fun. Usually, hopefully, it's accurate. It's correct. A lot of times it's not. I have been surprised so many times making videos for this channel. Over 100 times have I checked sources, and it may not be necessarily wrong, but I've checked the source, followed it down the line, and usually with very easy trackable stuff where, okay, it says it was cited in a 1972 paper in the Journal of Mechanics or the Journal of Industrial Design, and it's the optics of prisms or whatever. So then I go to find the name, copy and paste it, put it on Google Scholar, find the article, go there, look at the part that they're talking about. Nothing relevant to what, they're talking about. They just needed to cite something. They wanted to say something. They probably lost their note card or their cue card or their little scribble of where they got the info, if they even got it anywhere. And they just did that. And that happens so much. And I can tell you, as a TA in grad school, grading history papers, oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite things to do, was to pick a random source that I could go through quickly and to follow it back and see if they did any citing, or if they just took all their note cards at the end and like randomly went to the library, looked up all these books, and then they literally would be like, page 46, line 2, this was said. That happens so much. But it's amazing that happens even in like PhD papers. But I did like freaking the kids in my class out when, I'd highlight and then photocopy the actual page of the thing and be like, here's your source. Oh, wow, your rainbow shiners had 250 eggs today? Nice. I need to get down there. Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate it. If you like the live. Opinions on black spike snail, a black devil snail, whatever, mocha snail, cappuccino snail. I like them. They're cool. They're slow moving. They'll eat the hard powder algae. They're very peaceful. Haven't had them eat any food or anything. What they will do, though, is they'll go to the base of plants, like Valsinaria, especially in sand or gravel, and they'll go to the base of it, and they'll basically go where all the mulm and detritus and like fish poo has collected in the trough of the tree, what do you call that? Not wheel well or window well, but the tree well. And they'll be there eating real slowly, but if you like disturb them, pick them up, you'll see attached to their mouth or their foot and their mouth, you'll see that there's like all this molmy stuff, and a lot of times it's like old food that was missed, like flake food and stuff, and they're just going to town eating it. So I like them. I think they're cool. They do get really big though, and they're really derpy when they'll climb up the glass or a rock or a stick, and then like if you just barely touch them, or if you tap the glass, or if a fish swims by them, they just let go and just crack whatever they hit on their way down, and they're not light. So wow, Johnny Best, Alex, you have taught me so many things in the hobby that I put to work. It felt good. Well, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. That makes me so happy to know, man. It really does. I mean, that's why I want to do that. That's why I want to be here. This is why I do what I do, and I get something from you guys too. I don't know what else I would do. I'm at this point where I was making a year or two ago better money on YouTube than I am now. My stats are better now, so I'm gonna say thank you guys. You're doing your part. YouTube's just kind of changed how they pay and how they structure things and yada yada. How the magical Wizard of Algorithm and Oz works or whatever. But what I can say is that, I just hope we can make it to like the 100K, and then maybe at that point I can get B-roll and maybe hire a part-time editor. Those would be like two things that I think we could really get the channel going. And then from there, if it works out another couple years or whatever, who knows? Or if a video just kicks off for some reason, every once in a while, one of my old videos will just kick off and like I'll get 1,000 subscribers because it's on the featured page. So it really does show you, if I just paid the bribe money that Google and YouTube want, I could have 200,000 subscribers right now, easily. Easy. You can pay for subscribers, but I don't want that. I want you guys to be here. I want you guys to be real people. I want you to care. I'd rather have 100 people or 200 people in a live stream than to have like, and to have the what's the word? The word bird, to have that many people in a live stream rather than to have the massive following and yet have 1,000 people in the live stream. Oh, oh, my back. But yeah, I'd much rather have people that care and that find it fun and exciting. Um, Video that went up today, it did really bad. Don't know why. I mean, maybe it was a boring subject. It was about how our pond critters survive the frost. Kitty, no, you're not going outside. It's hot in this house. Yeah, it's how pond critters survive the freezing temperatures. What is it in here? Oh, it's 72 Fahrenheit. That's hot, kitty cat. We can turn it down a little bit. Okay. We're gonna turn it down, baby girl. We're gonna turn it down, baby girl. Down, baby girl. Okay. Alright. Anyways. She's licking my hand. I guess I taste good. I'm a tasty treat. I'm a tasty treat. But, guys, I think we're going to wrap this up soon. I've got a countdown video that's coming out soon. Also, hopefully setting up new tanks in the new, in the fish room reorganized. It's just taken a long time because of my health, and I just didn't want to bite off more than I could chew, and I honestly didn't want to put any animals in harm's way. I wasn't going to add more animals. I was going to do an aquascape and then try to draw from the organisms, the animals, the whatever that I have here in my care already. Let's see here. Albita red crip. Oh, beautiful. Love those. Alex, are you going to sell some of your babies to help take the heavy load of your shoulders in the fish room? I don't have a ton of babies. I mean, I got some swordtails right now. And that's really what I have a lot of babies of. But yeah, um, I don't know. I think, uh, yeah, I think plants I might have that, and I do that. Alexander, thank you. Shannon, what up? Welcome. Uh, Purple of Flame Sword. Ooh, want much. Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty stoked to manage to get my hands on that. I think I freak Alex out. He is brother. I never had. I would, man. I can't I can't wait to travel again, and to really get back. Cat, what are you? Stop. Ugh. So I know these are not for prescription medications, but that's what I use these for. I think they're great. They're waterproof. They're silicone, so they don't hold on to any smell or like bitter pill medicine-y taste, whatever. But yeah, I always get them stolen by the cat. The cat comes up here. She steals my Jolly Ranchers. She steals everything I care about. She's really quite evil. Does she know we're looking at her? What are you doing, Sumi? What are you doing, Sumi? What are you doing, Sumi? What are you doing, Sum Sum? Oh, now she's acting all shy. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you again for your generosity, by the way. Let's see here. Running water, blah, 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 blah. So you're saying, oh, yep, aquatics. Let's see, where are we at? It was cloudy and clear here in Western Washington. Yeah, it's been cold as heck. It was really clear here, and then it's getting cloudy again. We had some lightning and thunder last night, early in the evening. Sketty, what's up? Well, I'm gonna end on a note where I don't mess everything up, right? How about that? Zebra pleco. Uh, get that from Aquatic or from Moonlight Aquatics. They're the ones they got the killer deal on those. Fish and football hurting for cuddles. Laters, bro. Yep. How do you get rid of duckweed? You never try it in the first place. Uh, yeah, you can use a shop vac. You can like use a shop vac on it, or you can do the thing where you put pantyhose over a vacuum cleaner and then you kind of like are able to suction them off the top of the water. You can overflow if you've got a rimlet. Well, even with a rim tank, you can overflow a lot of it, and then uh, just let that overflow with like something running into it. That's really what you can do. A lot of the little leaves will still be stuck down in other plants or on other decor or even under the rim, and it just takes one. They are a bugger and a half, that's for sure. Thanks for hanging out with us. Well, you are so freaking welcome. I love hanging out with you guys. Is it hard to have wine for wife and be sober? Not related to the question, just looking for inspiration. No, no. It's been so long for me that that takes care of my needs. But no, I mean we've got like this. I had a Jack Daniel's bottle in my fish room. That's from it was I brought a bottle of Jack Daniel's to Jim Morrison's grave, and it was like on the airplane. They gave me a bottle of Jack Daniel's 10 years ago when my wife and I went to Paris, and we went to the famous French cemetery, and I left a bottle of Jack Daniel's and took another mini bottle of Jack Daniel's that I have that somebody else had left there that was in French packaging. So I thought that was kind of cool, but also I was like, well, it all evens out if I'm leaving one. And uh, but yeah, even when we had our wedding, I had a sip of champagne. I mean, I'm not crazy about not having it. And then early on, I did sip, like I had a beer or two, thinking like, oh, it's no big deal. And then I just decided I don't want any. Like, it doesn't mix with me at all. Not like, oh, I'm gonna become Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but just literally like it doesn't make me feel good. I just can't stand the smell or the taste of it anymore. My brain has been like, oh, you like don't even go there, my friend. Like you don't need it. Um, so why it's too much money for me anyways. It is a fun thing. Like I like learning about a lot of like spirits and brewing, but I did a lot of that in younger life. So yeah. Anyways, but you can always ask me stuff like that. And for me, even like one or two, it always gives me this stitch in the back of my back, like when I drink about half a beer. And it's right where my kidney is, and I think it's my kidney. And I think that's a bad sign. I've asked the doctors, they're like, I don't know, that sounds like psychosomatic, but it's not. It's like a real bad pain. So it might be a kidney thing. What are you doing? And but yeah, I used to brew a lot, and we used to take like Carlo Rossi, and we would use that as the mash, and we had a still in our dorm room. That was pretty ridiculous. Making brandy, like 150 proof brandy out of Carlo Rossi, worst hangover ever. uh, let's else the fish room. Yeah, we did the fish room already, and that's why I'm going to retire for the evening and play with my kitty cat. My wife is up at the bar actually with two of her girlfriends. I'm probably going to rest just because I'm getting some hints from my body that I should rest. Andrew, good to see you, but I'm leaving. I'm sorry, my brother. And Robert, same. But I maybe we'll fit in another stream this weekend. Maybe I can like appear in the morning or something like that. It's my wife's birthday on Monday, and we're celebrating, I believe, on tomorrow night. We're gonna go bowling, and then we're gonna go to dinner. So like she hasn't gone bowling in years and years, and it's cosmic bowling with 80s music. So she'll really dig that. John, shout out to you, buddy. I know all about that, and you you definitely empower me. And in the past, on nights when when it was still hard, years ago, you were someone that was friends with me, and yeah, thank you for holding strong and for sharing your journey with me because it helps me stay strong too, and I appreciate that. It's a lot easier to do when you know you've got everyone in it together with you. And no shame to anybody who still enjoys a drink or whatever. Like to me, they're totally that doesn't matter at all. It's just for me, I was time. I wasn't living up to my potential, connecting with other humans and learning and sharing the things that spoke to my heart and soul in my quiet private time. That's not the things that I was allowing to be my personality. I was allowing my personality to be shallow and or making jokes, sarcastic, witty banter, and this false affection with women and guys. But I mean, with people in my life, like I didn't know how to ask a girl out until Laura. Without having a few drinks first. I didn't know how to lean over and kiss someone without having drinks first. And I realized that and I was like, that's pathetic, at a certain age. Um, so yeah. Johnny Best says, Alex, if you are willing to sell things to lighten your load, keep us updated. All right. Well, thank you very much. I will let you know because I may be doing some of that with the shrimp. I need to take some better inventory here in the coming days as I'm playing with moving things around and all that, and a few other things. Definitely plants and stuff like that. And I'm like I said, I wasn't going to talk about it, but yeah, I still got the big medical bills looming over my head, and that just kind of looms over the channel until I take care of that. Like I think right now it's like 16 grand or something. That's outstanding. So once I get on top of that again, it'll be way easier to then like just take the fish money and put it right back into the fish. Whereas now it's like I try to put as much as I can back into the channel and into the fish room, but also like I can't be homeless. So it's kind of like a 50-50 split if my wife's in a good mood. If my wife's not, it's like a 70 split to give her money for the mortgage. Well, a piece of it. She pays most of it still, to be honest. Being vulnerable. All right, I'm gonna stop. You guys don't need to know all this, but I do love you. I do think about the time we spend together on these live streams, and it means a lot to me. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for hanging out. Whether you just joined us, whether you're chatting, whether you're lurking, or whether you're super chatting and sharing deep secrets or deep intimate parts of your life, do what you can, when you want to, and how you want to. And I'll be here, we'll be here. That's what this little community's about here. So much love, you guys, and I will see you later. Old Man River has no